evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Stora Cable, I would like to welcome you to this evening's debate. Stora Cable is pleased to present the debate between Mr. Ted Cherry, the incumbent of the Township Committee of South Brunswick, and Mr. Steve Rogers, the challenger for the Township Committee seat for South Brunswick. This evening's debate, which is a public service, I am delighted to introduce the three reporters who have joined us this evening to ask questions of the candidates. The reporters are Mr. Tom Davis of the South Brunswick Central Post, Miss Sue Livio of the Central New Jersey Home News, Mr. Mark Perkiss of the Times of Trenton. I would like to begin by introducing again Mr. Ted Cherry, the Democratic incumbent, who will have 3 minutes to present his opening statement. Mr. Cherry, please.
Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank Stora Cable for the opportunity to discuss the issues that are important to the people of South Brunswick. I'm glad that Stora has developed a fair format for this discussion. The people have the right to know the facts and know where the candidates stand on the issues. In all my years of involvement in local government, I have had the time and experience to learn about the needs and wishes of the people of South Brunswick. Just as important is what I have learned about how to work constructively towards meeting those needs. As Township Committee for 13 years, including 2 years as mayor, I have seen the growth, the changes, and the problems and solutions that have brought South Brunswick to where it is today. I have served on a wide range of boards and committees dealing with everything from transportation, housing, environment, recreation, and so forth. The list goes on. It takes a lot of experience and sophistication to work productively for responsive spending of the taxpayers' money. I have kept my eyes on water and sewer rates and the increases that have taken place over the years. I promise to fight the unfair tax increase to homeowners that have resulted from recent property reevaluations. Equally unfair are the tax reductions for developers in industrial properties at the same time. I will continue to fight against the unnecessary use of expensive outside consultants for work that can be done in-house. I believe that South Brunswick should receive and obtain our fair share of state and federal funds. Through the years, I have learned how to apply for appropriate grants and assistance. I made the necessary contact to help keep us aware when those monies come available. The quality of life in South Brunswick has always been an important issue for me. The work for a drug-free community. I have been an active member of the Mayor's Task Force on Substance Abuse, attending workshops to better understand what to do in South Brunswick about the drug problem. I will continue to work to make the Senior Citizen Center really happen. It has been too long coming, and it should have been the first municipal complex on the horizon. I also will continue to support the rights of mobile home park residents, because I am a very strong supporter of rent control. There's still a lot more we have to do to improve our programs for youth and other people in our community. I give that a high priority. My record stand as proven leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. You have heard the opening statement of Ted Cherry. You will now hear the opening statement of Mr. Steve Rogers, the Republican opponent.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us to bring to you our views about the quality of life and the future of the Township of South Brunswick. There's no question in my mind that this election is the most important election in the history of our township. There are two messages which have been conveyed to you the past few months by myself and my opponent. His message comes from the past. He has made it very clear that if elected, he will conduct business as usual. My message challenges the issue of the 1990s. If elected, strength will replace weakness. Courage will replace silence. And the will of the people will replace the dictates of politicians and developers. For 13 years, my opponent has tried to paint himself as everyone's friend. But being everyone's friend hasn't meant that South Brunswick has been everyone's township. It has been said that politics is the art of compromise. But some things just cannot be compromised without simply being wrong. Hence the wide gap between my opponent and me. As he sits back and watches what is fundamentally wrong take place, I choose to stand up and to do what is fundamentally right. You know, during the course of the campaign, people have asked me, what would you have done different if you were on the Township Committee the past 13 years? I would have voted no on Friendship Village. I would have seen to it without question that the Senior Citizen Center would have been completed. I would have made it absolutely clear and an absolute requirement that developers pay their fair share of taxes on time before they would be allowed to appear before our zoning and our planning boards. Think about that. If you didn't pay your taxes on time, your home would be taken from you. The message I'm delivering is simple and clear. It's about time we as a township address the issues affecting our very lives from a position of strength. Don't you think so? Thank you.
You have heard the opening statement of Mr. Steve Rogers. We will now move to the question and answer portion of this evening's debate. We will begin with a question from Mr. Tom Davis addressed to Mr. Ted Cherry. Mr. Davis, your question, please.
Yes, Mr. Cherry. I'd like to ask you, there has been talk that the road system in South Brunswick is unable to handle the township's growth pattern. What do you think are the township's greatest problem spots, and what do you suggest, or what methods would you suggest to correct these problems?
If I understand you correctly, you're talking about the arteries that run in through South Brunswick in order to take care of the traffic patterns.
That's correct.
And I have been really on top of that. I mean, for 13 years that I've been on the Township Committee. I have worked with the Department of Transportation in Trenton. I worked with our Assembly representatives to see what we can do to help us out here in South Brunswick. As you know, that at the present, the roads north and south of us is being widened and leaving us with an hourglass effect. And what I am proposing, that since we have the major arteries like the state roads, is to really get together with surrounding communities and the state to see if we can't bring some solution, some resolution to the roads in South Brunswick. We have to widen them. We cannot continue to develop as we are. We do not have the road system to support it. And I'm saying now, let's build the roads that we need to take care of the traffic that are choking us in South Brunswick. I know for a long time that I have been very instrumental in trying to get something done with the road, that especially US 1 and also 27 that run through South Brunswick. And I think it's time that DOT, which have been working very slow in providing help here in South Brunswick.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry.